Okay, our little shop dog is helping me out in the shop again today. Are you helping me? You ignoring me? You are so funny. Hey, look at me. Look at me. I got squirrels. Won't look at me. Oh, now I start to walk away and you look at me. All right, we're working on something in the shop today. It's a pretty common truck. It's an old S10. And I gotta say, every now and then, something really surprises me. I've been doing this for 40 years. And when you know it, something new shows up almost every day that surprises me. And this is no exception. So this is a TBI 2.6 liter, I'm sorry, 2.8 liter TBI automatic S10, like a 1989. And if you look close, there's something really weird going on here. First, let me give you a little hint. So I pulled off the air cleaner. Customer said the car wouldn't start. And there's a burn mark, like a pretty good size chunk of the air filter is missing. The little thermoreactor switch is completely burnt. And all the wiring on top of the fuel injectors, the TBIs, the wires are just shredded and melted. And it won't start, of course. Starts with starting fluid, but won't start on its own. How did that happen? We got to figure it out. So let's get into it. So how it happened, we don't know. I'm assuming it's a backfire turned into something worse. We've got one of these universal TBI connector plugs. So we're going to try to cut those off and wire these in, and hopefully this thing will start. So let's get to work. It's a new one on me. Crazy stuff, I tell you. Okay, so I shoved a little toilet paper down in our bores here, and I'm going to take a screwdriver and I'm going to try to pick off these burnt connections. I don't know if this is going to work or not. I think it might. Anyhow, I'm going to keep doing this until it breaks, I guess. Ooh, that came off. Look at that. Wires are completely severed. What a mess. I hope it didn't feed back to the computer is my fear. All right, we'll keep working on this, see if we can get that apart and fixed. Okay, so we're a little further along untangling this fiery mess. You can see our fuel injector wiring is now exposed. All the wires were fused together. I really hope the computer didn't short out. I don't know how durable the injector drivers are, but I'm going to try to cut these off and put some new ends on, and hopefully I can make them work. What a mess. I don't know how that could happen. It must have been a huge backfire, I guess. Such a good puppy. Oh, what a good puppy you are. Okay, so we're working on our engine fire S10, and what we did is we got a pigtail from the parts store and we wired on this fuel injector pigtail harness that goes on to our TBI throttle body fuel injector. They only had one at the parts store, but one is really all I need. I've taped the other one up that was completely burnt and separated the wires. The wires were fused together. There's still a really good probability that the computer driver, fuel injector driver is burned up. But what I want to do is I want to do a quick test here and confirm that. My puppy dog needs a little scratching. Oh yes, you're so cute. You need some attention. So I've got this box of Noids here. These are called Noid light set. They're little light bulbs that light up, tell you your fuel injector is working. So we're going to plug that in to our socket here, and we're going to turn the engine over, and that'll verify if our computer is fried. If I can do this with one hand. Hold on here. So I got the injector light in there. Let's see if I can push it in there with one hand. There, it's snapped in. So that's a little light that should come on. I'm going to set that right there on the throttle body. I'm going to go over here to the engine, to the ignition switch, and I can see it there through the crack in the hood. I'm turning the key. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. See the light there? You see it flashing? So we have injector pulse width. We've checked our fuses to the ECM and they are good. So theoretically, I can hear the fuel pump running. I can see the light flashing here, although it flashes really dim. That concerns me a little bit. It does flash, but it's super dim. I should be able to plug this on, and we should have some fuel injector flowage, and the truck should start. I should say I've got the barometric pressure sensor plugged in, and I do have the coolant temperature sensor plugged in. This concerns me because I thought all those wires were fused together, that there's no way this thing should run, but it may. Let's unplug my little light here and see if we can, drop it down there. I wonder if it'll fire with just one. Let's try it. Where'd my light go? I don't think it will, but we'll see. If it sputters or farts, then we'll know we got something. As I suspected. Something's still amiss. Okay, we'll keep working on it. Okay, so we are still working on our burnt up S10 here that had engine fire of some type, and I want to do one more test. We've concluded that we have a signal through our fuel injector wires, and we have fuel pump, we have fuel pressure. I don't know if it's the correct pressure, but I wouldn't think a fire would affect the pressure of the fuel pump back in the tank, which is under the bed. It's quite a ways away. But I'm still skeptical that there's not enough signal, because I'm not sure this will start. But I've got one more test, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do. We're going to use this battery. It's a 9-volt battery, and it's just a common battery, and that should be enough to power the terminals on the injectors there. So we're going to turn the key on, the ignition here, and we do know that the fuses are good for the fuel injectors. I'm sorry, for the fuel injection. Down in the fuse panel area here, we have 2 fuses. These 2 red ones off to the side, right here. Those are both ECM fuses. You can see the labeling in there, and they both test good. I don't know if you can hear that. When I turn the key on, you can hear the fuel pump run. I can hear it now, but I heard it the first time. Let's try it, see what happens here. So we're going to take our 9-volt battery, and we're looking right here at our first fuel injector. I'm going to put these terminals to the top here. We should be able to hear it click. Hear it click? See any fuel coming out of there? Don't see any fuel coming out. Let's try this one. Can hear them clicking. I thought I might be able to spray a little fuel because I've got the ignition on, but that is not to be. So doesn't mean that they're good, but they do click. So let's keep testing stuff so we can figure out how to make this thing run. Okay, let's try this one more time. Yeah, the injector's clicking. The thing is that I'm not sure about is why that injector harness burned. We had to have a problem. What caused it to backfire? Was there a starting problem? I haven't been able to talk to the customer. I'm still waiting for another one of these. So I've ordered a few tune-up parts. I'm assuming what happened was it's out of tune, it backfired, it caught those wires on fire, and we have the problem we have now, the no start. So which came first, chicken or the egg? We don't know. So it looks like the fuel injectors will work. It looks like the injectors are getting signal, but the engine will not fire until I get that new connection and I test it out. So hang tight. All right, so we're working in the shop like we normally do every day. We're working on an old S10 truck, trying to revive it after an engine fire. I'll get into that detail in a little bit. But we got a project, a special project we're working on right now. What do you think a roll of duct tape, a fishing net, and a piece of PVC pipe have in common? I'll tell you. Look up here in my ceiling. Can you see that? There's a hummingbird stuck in the shop. It happens quite often, more than I'd like to see. They end up dying because they can't get out. They spend their whole time trying to fly up, and there's no way out for them. The shape of my ceiling is such that they need to go back out the door that they came in, which is way over there, and they never do it. So we're going to take this manifestation of a fishing net, see if I can catch the little guy and set him free. Let's try it. All right, so we're back to working on our little Chevrolet S10 pickup and a couple things. So the lady that owns the truck finally called me back after I left her a message and told her that basically her intake caught fire. And she said, "Oh yeah, it caught fire on me like three weeks ago. It took me a half hour to put the fire out because she had to, she tried to start it up. She saw it caught fire first thing in the morning, had to get out, figure out how to open the hood, figure out how to take the lid off the air cleaner, and then figure out how to put the fire out." So she knew, and she says, "But once I put the fire out, it started up and it drove that way for 3 weeks. 3 weeks. And I get the call yesterday saying the truck won't start." So we cleaned up all the burnt wiring. We have another new injector harness on there. We've tested the injectors. In other words, they click, but I can't get any fuel to come out of them. So I thought, well, that's kind of funny. If I spray starting fluid down there, the engine does start. So I hooked up a fuel pressure gauge, and you can see it's reading 0. Even though I can hear the pump running, there's nothing coming out. And that makes sense. So I put a fuel pump in this truck about a year ago. That should be good. Let's take a look at how much gas is in the tank. Aha. It's reading Zippo. Let's put some gas in this thing, see if it starts up. Make somebody happy. Criminy sakes. This thing has been a nutcase job. Okay, we're going to put some gas in this thing. You know, it's crazy what I deal with. The engine on this car or truck caught fire, and the customer drove it for 3 weeks. And if it didn't start because it ran out of gas, I'm just going to hang up my shingle. That is just crazy. Let's see, is the gauge coming up? The gauge is not coming up. We'll have to check and see if we have fuel pressure. Goigle, 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 goigle. Okay, we just got 5 gallons in there. Let's turn the key on. Let's see if this gauge moves. Oh yeah, it's going up a little bit, and I think we got fuel pressure. I don't hear the pump scream. Oh yeah, we're leaking fuel pressure all over the place. We got fuel pressure now. That makes me happy. Oh, the line's got a hole in it. Oh, yeah, it's got some fuel pressure. Okay, so let's recap here. The truck came in, not running, on the back of a tow truck. Customer said it wouldn't start. I find that the engine has been completely on fire. All the wires were melted. I put in new wires, couldn't get it to start. Tested the injectors, they seemed to click. Tested the computer, make sure that there's a signal. There's signal. Put some spray down there. It did fire up for just a second. Kept cranking on it, cranking on it. I could hear the fuel pump running. It wasn't until I tested fuel pressure that there wasn't any fuel pressure. The tank was empty. Let's see if this thing fires up. If it does, I'm going to, what am I going to do? Okay, we're going to cycle the key here a couple times. Let a little fuel pressure build up. We have 1/8 of a tank. And we got nothing. All be dipped. Well, all be dipped. It was out of gas. Of all the, unbelievable. That's unbelievable. I don't know what to say. Unbelievable. Okay, well, it's just another day.